The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
Now, in that day, the remnant of Israel and those of the house of Jacob who have escaped will never again rely on the one who struck them, but will truly rely on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. A remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, may be like the sand of the sea, only a remnant within them will return. A destruction is determined, overflowing with righteousness, for a complete destruction, one that is decreed. The Lord God of hosts will execute in the midst of the whole land. Therefore, thus says the Lord God of hosts, O my people who dwell in Zion, do not fear the Assyrian who strikes you with the rod and lifts up his staff against you, the way Egypt did. For in a very little while my indignation against you will be spent, and my anger will be directed to their destruction. The Lord of hosts will arouse a scourge against him like the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb, and his staff will be over the sea, and he will lift it up the way he did in Egypt. So it will be in that day that his burden will be removed from your shoulders, and his yoke from your neck, and the yoke will be broken because of fatness. He has come against Ayath. He has passed through Migron, but Michmash he deposited his baggage. They have gone through the pass, saying, Jeba will be our lodging place. Ramah is terrified, and Gibeah of Saul has fled away. Cry aloud with your voice, O daughter of Kalim. Pay attention, Lisha, and wretched Anathoth. Madman has fled. The inhabitants of Jebim have sought refuge. Yet today he will halt at Nob. He shakes his fist at the mountain of the daughter of Zion, the hill of Jerusalem. Behold, the Lord, the God of hosts, will lop off the bows with a terrible crash. Those also who are tall in stature will be cut down, and those who are lofty will be abased. He will cut down the thickets of the forest with an iron axe, and Lebanon will fall by the mighty one.
Today we are diving into Isaiah 10, a chapter that warns of judgment against oppression and arrogance, yet reminds us that God is still in control. As empires rise and fall, God's justice prevails, and his promises stand firm. Let's uncover how these ancient truths speak directly to our world today. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Again in person, live in the flesh.
Yep.
So we are your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
Earl Roberts. Definitely appreciate everyone tuning in with us. Hopefully everyone enjoyed last week's episode when we talked about Easter, Passover, the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, the importance of it today, and just the symbology behind it and like how powerful it is. Hopefully everyone was able to take away some nuggets from that. And also that they enjoyed, especially in the Bahamas, your holiday time. You get Friday and the Monday off, which is a blessing.
Right.
Oh boy, we live in America. I mean, Good Friday ain't even guaranteed.
Like I'm saying, bro, and don't let you work at a certain type of place where...
Yeah, but my old firm, I never used to know when Easter was.
Yeah.
I used to be like, it's Good Friday, but I gotta go to work.
Yeah. Because, like, even at the gas station, bro, I used to work at the gas station. You got Good Friday, Palm Sunday, and Easter Monday off, bro. Because in the Bahamas, if a holiday fall on a Sunday, it just roll over to the Monday. So you get 3. You see what I'm saying? Like, That's crazy. And you know what I like about the Bahamas? Several times throughout the year, I want to say at least 2 times, you might have 2 holidays in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like the Monday and the Friday.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, bro.
Oh,
So
back to back was like Whit Monday and Labor Day. They always like right next to each other.
Right. So it's like you could have 2-3 day weekends back to back.
A blessing.
Bro, that's a blessing, dog. Like holiday weekends, bro, and the Monday is the holiday. Oh, we going crazy. We going crazy that week. Yeah, boy. But yeah, man. Well, thank God for dying on the cross, for rising again, and for giving us the tools and the abilities to learn your word.
Amen. Okay. So in this week's episode, we are going back to the book of Isaiah, and we are in chapter 10. But before that, we are going to take a quick detour to Proverbs.
You faked me out. I wasn't gonna say that, no. I wasn't gonna say that. I said, all right, if you ain't want to do the Proverbs, I said, all right, I gave a pass. That's funny.
Take a quick detour to Proverbs.
Yes, sir. Oh, that's one of them ones.
Proverbs always got gems. So Proverbs always got
for
gems.
sure.
So let's go. Proverbs 14. The wise woman builds a house, but with her own hands, the foolish one tears hers down. Whoever fears the Lord walks uprightly, but those who despise him are devious in their ways. A fool's mouth lashes out with pride, but the lips of the wise protect them. Where there are no oxen, the manger is empty, but from the strength of an ox come an abundant harvest. An honest witness does not deceive, but a false witness pours out lies. The mocker seeks wisdom and finds none, but knowledge comes easily to the discerning. Stay away from a fool, for you will not find knowledge on their lips. The wisdom of the prudent is to give thought to their ways, but the folly of the fools is deception. Fools mock at making amends for sin, but goodwill is found among the upright. Each heart knows its own bitterness, and no one else can share its joy. The house of the wicked shall be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Even in laughter the heart may ache, but in rejoicing may end in grief. The faithless will be fully repaid for their ways, and the good rewarded for theirs. The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. The wise fear the Lord and shun evil, and the fool is hot-headed and yet feels secure.
Mercy.
A quick-tempered person does foolish things, and the one who devises evil schemes is hated. The simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. Evildoers will bow down in the presence of good, and the wicked at the gates of righteous. The poor are shunned even by their neighbors, but the rich have many friends.
That's true too.
It is a sin to despise one's neighbor, but blessed is the one who is kind to the needy. Do not those who plot evil go astray, but those who plan what is good find love and faithfulness. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. That's a gem. The wealth of the wise is their crown, but the folly of fools yields folly. A truthful witness saves lives, but a false witness is deceitful. Whoever fears the Lord has a secure fortress, and for their children it will be a refuge. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, turning a person from the snares of death. A large population is a king's glory, but without subjects a prince is ruined. Whoever is patient has great understanding, but who is quick-tempered displays folly. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Whoever oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker, but whoever is kind to the needy honors God. When calamity comes, the wicked are brought down, but even in death the righteous seek refuge in God. Whoever reposes in the heart of the discerning, and even among the fools she lets herself be known. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin condemns any people. A king delights in a wise servant, but a shameful servant arouses his fury. That's a good one.
All right. The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands.
Mm.
I particularly like that because, a lot of times they talk about the wise man, but they talk about, they make it applicable to women too. And it just go to show that when you wise, you're going to build.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, you're unwise, you're going to destroy. Like, when you think about things that you used to have or things that got away, like, it's to me, it's always like kind of a shame when you see somebody at the end of their life, like they mature in age and they might lose their house, they don't have a good relationship with their family or stuff like that. And then you think 10 years ago we was doing good, 15 years ago, and it wasn't because of natural disaster, but it's just because of your bad choices. It could be like a divorce, a failed marriage or something like that. And it's like, bro, this just wasn't wise, bro. Like, to lose what you have, the wise person builds, There's a text, right? There's a text in verse 12, bro. This one of them like them deep texts that I just ponder on all the time. There's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death.
Mercy.
That one, that's actually a scary text. It's like one of the scariest texts I think about because it's saying that, bro, you leading yourself to death, but you think you're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. But this thing you're doing, you think it's right. You think what you're doing is right to do and okay to do, but it leads you to destruction. What you say?
Ahaz, the king.
Oh, Ahaz, yeah. I thought just like aha, that's
yeah, like it goes by leaning on your understanding, right? Like everything about this seems to be the glowing bulb that you was looking for. Like this what you pray for.
It seemed like he was doing the right thing. Like it just seemed
like this what you feel like he was called for. Moses was called to be a leader, but he was trying to take it in one time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is supposed to be my moment, but this part that you want ain't the one I call you to be on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, but that's just the hard one. So to your point, leading not on your own understanding, because our own understanding can very well lead us to death, bro.
It very well most likely will.
But it's a difference between you being disobedient. We know what disobedience and what sin is going to lead us, but there's a way that seems like you're doing the right thing. But for all you know, like even if we think about every religion in the world, all can't be right. Some of them just vastly oppose each other, right?
Fox.
And I want to say, majority of religion, even just being non-biased, I feel like, bro, it can't be more than one right religion. That's just how I feel. Especially how Christianity itself it makes it known that, bro, there's only one way to God, and it's this way. You see what I'm saying? And so everyone else that subscribe to these other religions, right? Let's say you a Muslim. Let's say you believe Islam is the right way. Everybody else, bro, what they seem like to them, it seems like they're doing the right thing. It seems like they're following the right religion. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, bro. And in every religion, there are people who die hard for this, bro. Like, I believe this with every fiber of my being. You see what I'm saying? And the sad reality is, just like from a probability standpoint, they all can't be right.
Nope.
So there are people that literally believes in something with every fiber of their being, and they are very incorrect. They are mortally incorrect,
But like verse 23 stood out to me. All hard work brings a profit, but mere talk only leads to poverty. And it's just, you got to get into action sometime.
Yeah,
At some point, you got to stop talking and you got to start doing.
You got to get to it, man. A wise man, verse 16, a wise man fears and departs from evil, but a fool rages and is self-confident.
And they feel secure.
A quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of wicked intentions is hated. So it really just talk about being impatient and being quick to act. That's just foolish in general, you know. And I think even in our last episode when we was talking about Pilate, the foolish thing on his behalf was that he allowed the Jews to make him quick to act. You wake me up out of my sleep, or you get me in the middle of the night and you force me to make this decision, bro. Like, you look at a trial, bro. People don't, like, you, especially a high profile case, they don't open and close that same day, bro. Sometimes you got,
It's gonna take a while to litigate.
you say sometimes years go by before this actually come to a conclusion, bro. Like, but my mommy always used to tell me about people who rushing me to make a decision. Like, whenever someone rushing you to make a decision, that's where you should be as cautious as possible, because chances are they trying to swing you, they trying to swindle you, or they trying to force you to make an ill-informed decision, you know?
Something that ain't gonna benefit you in the end.
Right. And you can't think all the way through because it ain't really that apparent to you.
Verse 15, the simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. Simple believe anything.
Anything, bro.
Believe whatever they singing down there, you believe.
The
Gullible.
Gullible, bro. Yeah, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Whoever oppresses, verse 31, whoever oppresses the poor shows contempt for their maker. But whoever is kind to the needy honors God.
And see, and bro, and that's be my thing, bro. You know, this ain't a command, thou shalt not X, Y, Z, but it's the truth, and it's ways to do good and, you know, to be holy and stuff, right? Oppressing the poor. That's something big corporations do, right? We know you don't have no choice but to buy our pharmaceutical product so we can spike up the price because you have to buy this. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, sometimes big pharma does that. Sometimes like these big corporations, like, oh, the mom and pop shop, we squeezing the competition out, or we have a monopoly in this way, so we're gonna, you know, strike up the prices and just make it hard for you. Like insurance companies and stuff like that. They do that a lot. Like, especially when it's a
Older for person for insurance.
Yeah, but when it's a field that is like, it's like a need, like, or it's a desperation for this need. So like you can see that a lot with like weight loss pills and stuff like that. They always trying to play on the heartstring of desperate people. You see what they saying and do these things and you know, the Bible say, bro, that's, you know, he who oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, you offending God by doing this to the poor. Like, but when you let people tell it, it's just business. It ain't personal. It ain't poisonous.
Business.
It's just business. If I want to charge you $10,000 for this battery, and I know this the only place in the city that sells batteries, and you don't have a choice but to do it. You see what I'm saying? And this not even a battery, but let's just say water, for example, like. You know, when during times of natural disasters, they strike up the price of water. You know what I mean? Things like that. But like, just think about the
like,
people.
Even like when during COVID, when the price of almost everything just shoot up. Like,
yeah,
all the
bro.
disinfectant, like you was trying to get a regular thing, disinfectant wipes, the little Clorox wipes. Trying to sell it for like $25. Like one little regular size. You're like, wait, what? You gonna get this for like $7 back like a week ago,
bro? And then when you think about how, like, you know, they have these things called food deserts, right? Where it's like in impoverished areas, they don't have access to nutritious food. So all the junk food, they're like all of the, you know, these low level fast food places there, the grocery stores that don't have the good, you know what I mean? You ain't see no Whole Foods and
no fresh vegetables
right.
that just get picked and truck delivered. No,
right? And then, like, to me, that's also a way to oppress the needy. And then even still, you strike up the prices of all of these like very essential products, whereas when people who just do not have the money, they have to choose between quality and trash. You say, of course, we could pick the ramen noodles. And, you know what I mean? And right, you see what I'm saying? And so, like, to me, the way corporations do that and the way we just adopt this, and, you know, some people protest against it, but in general, we just like, it's just what it is. It's business. To me, that's oppressive, you know? And, you know, we reproach our maker when we treat others like that, you know?
And that's valid, right? Because there's more than one way to look at oppression. Some people just look at it in the classical sense of, you know, okay, I have certain dominance over you, like I try to keep you down, but it's like the other ways that you can oppress a group of people, restricting access to healthcare, restricting, is like, you know,
You stiff arming people. Like,
Yeah.
when you have that power, like.
Yeah, like abusing your power, like that's a form of oppression just in itself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that's the thing. We don't think, like, in society, you just don't really think about the poor that much. You know what I mean? Like, you just, like, it's almost like they're not as important as everyone else. You know, that's how it is. And I feel like the higher you go up in your class, the higher class you in, you disregard people in a way. I was telling my boy, we was doing community service a couple of years back. It was at our job, they had a program in Eatonville to do community service. And it was a span of a month's time. Anybody could sign up at any given time. When we signed up, only me and my boy was end up there. And let's say it was like 2 times a week for a month, right? So I don't know when people went. People might have went before or after. I just don't know. But it was just me and him. And that was like kind of shocking to me because I'm like, we have a big department, bro. I thought it would have been at least more than me and you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And he was like, yeah, I didn't know you. He didn't know I was like a community service type of person. I haven't done it in a while, but I was like, bro, by community service, that almost more important to the person who's doing it than the person who's receiving it, bro. Because especially when you moving up in life and you trying to be successful, bro, you could become so disconnected, bro.
Fox.
You could become so disconnected, dog. And so I like, bro, it's important to be tapped in and to continue to be connected to the community so that you don't ever miss sight on what's actually happening, bro. You could easily live in your own bubble and think because something ain't impacting you, it's not a real impact. When people talk about fentanyl and like fentanyl crisis and stuff like that, to me, it's almost unbelievable. Like I know of people who have overdosed from this, right? But to me, because I don't be even nowhere near this thing. So when they talking immigration and they saying, oh, this fentanyl coming through the borders and stuff like that, to me, I wonder if they lying. I wonder if they just making all of this to like criminalize immigrants in a way. But it's like, I am so far removed from this type of lifestyle. It's hard for me to accept or hard for me to understand. And I feel like a lot of ways that's how it is with people that are poor because we so busy trying to take care of our family that we don't interact. You know,
you don't know what it is to like not really know where you sleep tonight or trying to wait in line to get into the shelter to have a place to sleep. But if not, you get in line too late, or you actually got to sleep on the road. So now I got to find which underpass free, which park I could like try to get the warmest in under a gazebo or something like. It's a very valid argument. When you don't have to live a certain life or ain't in that life, it's hard to really rationalize what that everyday life is like. In the Western world, we don't know what it is to be in a state of war. You know what I'm saying? We don't know what it is to have to worry about getting bombed. We don't know what it is to have to worry about missiles coming over or hearing the planes drop bombs, that kind of stuff. Like we don't really know what that is. But if you live in like in the Middle East, this is a common reality. All the places in Africa were going through these civil wars. We don't know what it is to have, machine guns come in and you got to be worrying about like, okay, they like a village over. Do we stay tonight? Do we leave? You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to worry about these things. And so it's like you really could be disconnected when you're not in that environment and don't have to live, like you don't have to make these decisions. So it's, to your point, it's good to do community service, that kind of stuff. It kind of, reconnects you and see that it helps you appreciate the things you take for granted. Like, Izzy likes to go into like, do like, every month try to do like some like community service aspect. And when you do these things, it really like just opens your eyes. Like, oh, and especially when you see like the kids who are affected by some of these decisions, which it's like a newborn baby or a young kid, like a 1 year or 2 year old who homeless. They don't even know what they don't even know what being homeless is, but just know that they actually going through it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's really make you appreciate and have a different perspective on life. So I agree.
Yeah, most def. So yeah, some good gems coming out of Proverbs chapter 14.
As always, so now we are going to go to Isaiah 10. And Isaiah 10 essentially is like the beginning part is a direct continuation off of last chapter, in my opinion, which isn't worth that much. Should have just been a part of Isaiah 9.
I agree.
Isaiah 1 through 4 is still literally the same thing, and then chapter 10 should have started with verse 5. But That's just a qualm I have. So we are still setting the stage with this prophecy, just talking about the destruction of Israel, Syria. Then last chapter we see how Judah also going to get their things, as speaking colloquially, and now we still essentially just finishing off that sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
So, woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees, who write misfortune, which they have prescribed to rob the needy of justice, mercy.
Right there again.
And to take what is right from the poor of my people. The widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. What will you do in the day of punishment, and in the desolation which will come from afar? To whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? Without me, they shall bow down among the prisoners, and they shall fall among the slain. For all of this, his anger is not turned away, but his hand is still stretched out still.
Yeah, and so that's almost like a refrain now, because if we go back to chapter 9, we talking about the destruction of Israel, Samaria. In verse 21, it says, Manasseh shall devour Ephraim, and Ephraim Manasseh. Together they shall be against Judah, right?
Mm-hmm.
For all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still, right? And so, to your point of the continuation of it, he continues to say, woe to those who do this. They decree unrighteous decrees. You know what I'm saying? He talk about this and the punishment that is to come, and he ends it by saying, for all his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. And so it just goes to show the anger of God that is aroused right now, and it's quite an interesting dilemma, because you have the heathen nations, right? You have Syria that join with Israel, which should not be a heathen nation, but has turned away from
all
God,
intents and purposes,
and has become
functioning one as one,
right? And then you have Judah, which should be a holy nation as well, but at the moment they're a heathen nation temporarily, right? And then we have so that's 2 against 1, and then we have another nation, Assyria, another heathen nation, but God is using them as the tool to bring about the destruction of everyone else. You see what I'm saying? So it's like nobody is innocent, but there are clearly victims here. Judah is a victim, although they are not innocent. God is the biggest victim here, because I only wanted to provide for y'all. I hold up my end of the bargain. Y'all did not. Y'all actually desecrate my temple. Y'all give it away to give my
Give
riches
all the silver and gold of the temple away to Assyria.
to Assyria. You know what I mean?
All the artifacts.
Y'all tried to destroy the holy nation of Judah. And now God is like, all right, I dishing out punishment. But it's like, y'all too, Israel and Samaria, y'all getting punished for trying to destroy Judah, because that was uncalled for, right? Like, it wasn't no need for that, right? Judah, you getting punished for being wicked.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all getting punished for being wicked. But also within that, Judah getting punished for seeking out to Assyria. You know what I mean? And now in this chapter, we're gonna focus on Assyria's now judgment as well.
It's now verse 5. Woe to you, Assyria, the rod of my anger, and the staff in whose hand is my indignation. I will send him against an ungodly nation and against the people of my wrath, and I will give him charge to seize the spoil, to take the prey, and to tread down like the mire of the streets. Yet he does not mean so, nor does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and to cut off not a few nations. For he says, are not my princes altogether kings? Is not Calno like Karshemish? Is not Hamath like Arpad? Is not Samaria like Damascus? As in my hand has found the nations, as in my hand has found the kingdoms of the idols, whose carved images excel those of Jerusalem and Samaria. As I have done to Samaria and her idols, shall I not do also to Jerusalem and her idols? Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Lord has performed all his work on Mount Zion and on Jerusalem, that he will say, I will punish the fruit of the arrogant heart of the king of Assyria, and the glory of his haughty looks.
So, right. So that's kind of what we was just alluding to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the interesting thing. God says, woe to Assyria. Right?
Whoa.
So like, woe to you. You know, like, bro, sorry for you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Comma, Assyria, comma, is the rod of my anger.
Yep.
And the staff in whose hand is my indignation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a metaphor for saying this is the tool through which I execute my punishment upon these wicked nations. Right?
Yep. The rod and the staff were instruments that the shepherd is used to correct the sheep.
Exactly. And so when I used to read this, I thought he was trying to say, because it say woe to Assyria, I thought he was trying to say my rod is going to be upon you type situation, but it's really saying that you have been the tool that I've used for my discipline of the other nations, right? I will send him against an ungodly nation and against the people of my wrath, right? So we seeing how God is saying, oh, I am going to use y'all for this and that, right? But it's like in the midst of using y'all to execute my punishment, y'all start getting arrogant. Y'all start getting big head, right? And y'all start. What did it say? In verse 7, yet he does not mean so, nor does his heart think so, but it is in his heart to destroy and to cut off not a few nations.
Not a few nations.
Not a few nations. So it's like, bro, I executing you to do this thing, but you insatiable, right?
You got some big desires there, buddy.
You got some big desires, and bro, let me show you how that's self-evident. God is making a way for him to do that. I don't know if they spoke or whatever, but obviously God is saying how it's by my hand that you all had victory, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also Judah is the one who hired us Assyrians to execute that, right? And there's two people he trying to overstay his welcome on, right?
Mm-hmm.
God, being that God wanted you to do this and that and the third, but y'all start getting greedy, like y'all start licking your chops, like, bro, I going after this one, I going after that one, right?
Keep on going south.
But then it's so crazy because Judah, it's also happening to Judah as well, because two episodes ago, well, in last chapter 9, we talk about how Ahaz hired, they're like a mercenary, the Assyrians were like his mercenaries, hired the Assyrians to fight against his enemies, right? Mm-hmm. And Assyria looking at it like, bro, I done beat Samaria, I done beat Damascus, and now I want Judah. I want the people who just hired me. I want to defeat you too. So there's no honor. There's no honor amongst thieves type situation, and that's what God's saying. Because he for the Assyrians say in verse 8, are not my princes altogether kings? Like, even my princes is big dog. You see what I'm saying? So now I looking at Kalno, like I looking at Shashemesh. I looking at Hamath, like Arpad. I looking at Samaria, like Damascus, right? Mm-hmm. All these things is food to me, bro. As my hand has found the kingdom of the idols, whose carved images, those of Jerusalem and Samaria, right? Like, I see y'all gods, bro. Y'all gods ain't nothing compared to my gods, bro. As I have done to Samaria and her idols, shall I not do to Jerusalem and her idols, bro? I looking at all of y'all as lunch, bro.
It's crazy.
That's how I see all y'all, and that's what God's saying. God, like, bro, woe to y'all. Y'all about to get punished because you greedy.
Going a little too far.
Yeah, you greedy, bro.
Going too far.
Why? Why are you like this, bro?
Insatiable.
For real,
Insatiable. But like, even like with God using this series, it kind of reminds me when in Jeremiah and Habakkuk, when they was prophesying to the kingdom of Judah.
Mm-hmm. But the Babylonians?
Yeah, the Babylonians coming for y'all. Chaldeans, they coming for y'all.
Yeah. And that's why, and God said I will send my servant Nebuchadnezzar. You see what I'm saying? So we can see how God has used others. And that's the thing, bro. If it's only, let's think about it like from anyway, if everyone in the world is evil and God wishes to execute judgment, right? And his judgment is basically, I'm going to allow you to be defeated.
Conquered, yeah.
Someone has to do the conquering. And if everyone is wicked, that means someone wicked is going to conquer someone wicked. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it actually makes sense. But when you actually see it and you hear it, it's kind of weird because it's like, why is God allowing Nebuchadnezzar to do all this thing? Because he definitely wicked, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's one thing if you wicked and you ignorant to the fact, right? It's another thing if you wicked and you know better. Plus, I tell you to stop. Plus, I tell you what's going to happen if you don't stop. Plus, I keep telling you by multiple people what's going to happen if it doesn't stop. So when Nebuchadnezzar come around, I think it's actually unfair to say, oh, why would we allow these Babylonians, these pagans, they worship other gods to conquer God's people? Because it's like, are you saying that God should just follow just actually allow Judah to bully them? Judah basically saying, but I don't care about you. I love other God. I move on. You see what I'm saying? Like I into something else. And God just needs to sit there. But nobody does that, bro. Like, and if you see your son doing that, you see your brother doing that, you would tell him, bro, but you got to move on, dog. You see what I'm saying? like
Agreed. Okay, so where we at? Verse 12.
Yeah.
Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Lord has performed all the work on Mount Zion and Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the fruit of the arrogant heart of the king of Assyria and the glory of his haughty looks. Verse 13, for he says, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent. Also I have removed the boundaries of the people and have robbed their treasury, so I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. My hand has found like a nest of riches of the people, and as the one gathers eggs that are left, mercy. I have gathered all the earth, and there was no one who moved his wing, nor opened his mouth with even a peep.
That's arrogant. He said, bro, like random, like the one who's collect eggs, bro. I collect everyone, dog. You see what I'm saying? Like
crazy. Shall an ox boast itself against him who chops with it? Or shall the saw exalt itself against him who saws with it?
Mercy.
As if a rod could wield itself against those who lift it up, or as if a staff could lift up as if it were not wood. Therefore the Lord of hosts, will have seen leanness among his fat ones, and under his glory he will kindle a burning. So like the fire, like the burning of fire, so the light of Israel will be for a fire, and his holy one for a flame. And it will burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day, and it will consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, but both soul and body. And they shall be as when a sick man wastes away, and then the rest of the trees of his forest will be so few in number that a child may write them.
Bro, it's so interesting how God puts it, and I think we have a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, we got time,
bro. I don't wanna rehash this conversation.
Oh boy,
me and Big Man.
Oh boy,
talk about it. Me and you talk about it, right? But it's like when the thought of the time and chance, and I'm not focusing on that part, right? Mm-hmm. But it was the conversation of like when someone who doesn't believe in God makes it to a certain place, right? Mm-hmm. They don't believe God did it. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? As far as they're concerned, this was all by me, right? I feel like this is the prime scenario right here, because God, bro, for chapters now, it was already being prophesied that this was gonna happen, right? And now it has actually happened, and the Assyrians, they were like, bro, we just win everything, bro. We was going stupid, bro, and now they just recalling everything that they done, but they don't involve God in it, and now for some reason that's a problem. He says, by the strength of my hand, I have done it, right? And by my wisdom, why? For I am prudent.
Yep.
I have done this, I have done that. My hand has done this. I
Very
have
arguing.
gathered one. And as one gathered eggs that are left, I have gathered all the earth. Right?
That's cocky.
That's cocky. That's about the cockiest thing I hear in the Bible so far, bro. He was just like, and that's what get Nebuchadnezzar, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Nebuchadnezzar walking on his roof one day, and he said, bro,
Last kingdom that I have built.
look at everything I do.
I'd say, oh, okay.
Okay, boom. God pressed the button just like that. You see what I'm saying? Let's see you turn
Wild.
yourself wild. Let's see you turn yourself back to a civilized person. You can't do it. And it's the same thing with Jesus and Pilate. Pilate like, wait, don't you know that I could free you from all this? And Jesus like, bro, you don't have that power, bro.
Time out.
Time out, bro. Hold on. Wait. Let's set something clear right quick. Pilate said, I have the power to free you. Bro, you only have the power that God has given to you, you know? And now, the intricacies of this, I cannot speak to because I'm not all-knowing, right? I don't know how involved God is, to what degree, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we can see where what I assume, this king who knows nothing about God, all he knows is they pay me to go to war, I go on to war, I win, and I win again, and I get greedy, and I just keep winning. So I want to know why. If
Can't stop now.
I can't stop now. I might as well go all the way, right? But I just want to know why, if he doesn't know of God, why was it even wrong for him to say, I did all of this? To me, the only thing that would make sense is if he knew God, this was by God's hands, but I don't think that was the case.
I don't think that was the case. I mean, because even if God could use anybody to exact his judgment, because it is almost as if like God more so in this context to me allowed y'all to be captured, as in like not fight that battle for y'all, as in like going against him. You know what I'm saying? Like in the desert when they was complaining, and God said, all right, I just moved my hedge of protection around y'all. So everything that was going to happen, that should have been happening to y'all, I'm going to allow it to happen now. So now the scorpions, them, there's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, we get something to bite up. We
You
get
know, it's like
snakes and things.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now the natural natural
order,
occurrence of things is now going to take place. I think that's kind of what the aspect of is. But y'all still was a heathen. The Assyrians, y'all still a heathen nation. Y'all still desecrating the temple and all this stuff. Oh, I can deal with y'all too. Don't get it twisted. Y'all still need some judgment, but these people need some punishment. How about it?
Yeah, but that's the thing, and I don't know if the Assyrians knew.
No, that's it. They don't know. But it's like, go for it.
But here is God saying. So now watch this. When the Assyrians say, when the Assyrian king say, I by my wisdom have accomplished this, right? God laughing. Now I can say he laughing, but he making a sarcastic conversation. He say that's like an ox saying that shall the ox boast itself against him who chops with it? That's like he basically saying, bro, you have this. You could the ox, could the sword say, oh, could the sword go to the human wielding it saying, bro, I did all this? No, you ain't do nothing, bro. The human was you and did it. You see what I'm saying? And so I think that's the point God trying to make. He said, bro, I am literally the power. You see what I'm saying? You was the ox. And if we go back to verse 5, Assyria, the rod of my anger.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You was the tool that was being used. But I was the one that made sure this thing came to pass. But now you in turn saying, I did it. It's me. You see what I'm saying? And so, I know, bro. I know. I think that this one fascinating to me. I know I fully believe that God was the one that, whether he permitted or whether he physically gave them super strength, just gave them prosperity in it, right? Or whether he just pulled back his hedge of protection from the victims. I know it was because of God that he was successful. But now I just wonder if can you ever think that I did anything? You know what I mean? Because you could never know if God helped you do it or not. You see what I said?
And not so far.
See, I think one of the most flagrant things that happened is when he said, bro, I look at Jerusalem and her idols and I destroyed them, basically as to say, like, my people, my gods, me and my gods were stronger than y'all gods.
But they say and that's next. Like, it was interesting, right? You say like, bro, I destroyed them and their idols, and I destroyed them and their idols, but they never say like, I destroyed them and they God.
Right, and I think that's only because they don't know that they ain't supposed to be worshiping idols. You
Fair
see what
point.
I'm saying? Like,
Fair point.
but at the end of the day, as far as they're concerned, any god that was in Jerusalem, I defeat. Because And I think that's kind of what they meant by idols. Like whatever religion y'all was dealing with, however y'all was do it, I just beat y'all. It don't matter. I don't care if y'all worshiping the right God or not. I still beat y'all. You know what I mean? And so like that's an interesting one to me, you know. But we do know that Assyria was gonna get, you know, punished. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. Like to me, this one of them ones I don't really quite understand what the issue was. Like I get that he was being proud, but if he don't know that he violating you, unless he do know about you and he just don't care.
And then also it's like who knows, right? Because we go back to Second Chronicles now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Second Chronicles, we back in 28, verse 16. At that time, Ahaz sent to the kings of Assyria to help him, for again the Edomites had come and attacked Judah and carried away captives. The Philistines also had invaded the cities to the lowland and the south of Judah and taken away Beth Shemesh, Ajalon, Girdosh, Sokoth and its villages, Timnah with its villages, Gimzo with its villages, and they dwelt there. For the Lord brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Ahaz, king of Israel, for he encouraged moral decline in Judah and had been continually unfaithful to the Lord. Also, Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came to him and distressed him and did not assist him. For Ahaz took part of the treasures from the house of the Lord, from the house of the king and from the leaders, and gave it to the king of Assyria, but he did not help him.
Mm. Oh, he didn't help him.
So it's almost like he turned his back on the boy too at the end of the day.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's the next thing. Like could have been like, all right, you and swindling my people.
I would laugh, bro. So what? But the Assyrians did wage war against them other set, but that wasn't even on behalf of him.
Mm-hmm.
So he led people. Okay, that's grimy. That's very grimy. That's very grimy, bro. He basically just take his money. I was gonna war with them anyway. Yeah. Sorry.
I think, but when you go back and look at the full context, right? Israel and Syria was going to war with your boy.
With the Assyrians anyway.
With the Assyrians, right?
Yeah.
They come to Israel. They come to Judah for help. Judah, I was like, man, I ain't helping y'all. They said, you don't want to help us? We got kill you and install a puppet king.
Mm-hmm.
As I come to him, but I'll be a fair. Your boy say, anyway, I get jump slick on y'all too. Go to the Assyrians and tip them off that y'all trying to ambush them.
Mercy.
Backfire on everybody.
Oh, that's a bad situation. I don't even know what to say about that, bro. That's just a crazy situation. But the Assyrians come on top. That's fattening frog for snake, like I say, bro.
Literally.
You see what they saying? Y'all robbing me. Y'all attacking me. Y'all getting fought. And then this snake can come. And he's snaking all us.
Everybody gets swindled.
Oh, boy.
Everybody gets swindled.
Yeah, boy. So that's a wily one right there. I know. So, yeah. Yeah, man. So I know, bro. Like, just in regard to all that, but one thing that can be said for sure though is that this Assyrian king, he was getting stupid, bro. Like he was on a tour, like like I don't even gonna mention this to it, but certain people they just get I'm the best, I'm this and that and the third. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how he was giving it up, bro. Like
he going crazy on it.
But that's so crazy, bro. And it's funny because in sports, bro, it's like that's champion, bro. If you pop your stuff and say, bro, I'm the best, bro. You basically, even in rap, like you taught that you're supposed to have that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I did this. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Like, but then when you read in the Bible, you read out like
about humility
you read about humility, and then you read out God shows his anger when people act like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think you're doing this, but it's. Boy, I know, but you gotta be humble, dog. Gotta be humble.
So now in verse 20, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel and such as have escaped the house of Jacob will never again depend on him who defeated them, but will depend on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. For though your people, O Israel, For though your people, O Israel, be as the sand of the sea, a remnant of them will return. The destruction decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For the Lord God of hosts will make a determined end in the midst of the land.
Mm.
A remnant will return. And so I can keep on going. Therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, O my people who dwell in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrians. He shall strike you with a rod and lift you up and lift up his staff against you in the manner of Egypt. For yet a very little while in the indignation will cease, as will my anger in their destruction. And the Lord of hosts will stir up a scourge for him like the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Earl. And his rod was on the sea, so will he lift it up in the manner of Egypt.
That's the end?
That's the end of verse 26.
Oh, okay, verse 26. So, right now, it's interesting because they talking about the returning remnant of Israel, right? Not Judah. And as far as we know, it's like once Israel became, once they lost to the Assyrians, that was basically the end of their story. Like when we go to First and Second, when we go to Second Chronicles and Second Kings, you don't really hear about Israel no more. You know what I mean? But then in the New Testament, we learn about Samaria. We hear about the Samaritans and stuff like that. What's interesting to note though is that in the book of Kings, when the Assyrians conquered Israel, they took the land, they moved the Israelites out, and they actually brought in a bunch of other nations. They brought in the Babylonians,
Babylon, Cuthah, Alva, Hamath, and from Sepharvaim.
Right. And it wasn't well in the country because God brought lions to kill and to disturb. Just to disturb all of those people that moved in the land. And if y'all remember the story, you have like Second Kings. You in the Second Kings?
I have it up now.
2 Kings 19, right?
Yeah, so then the king of Assyria brought the people from Babylon, Cuthah, Alva, Hamath, and from the Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. And they took possession of Samaria and dwelt in its cities. And it was so at the beginning of their dwelling there that they did not fear the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them, which killed some of them. So they spoke to the king of Assyria, saying, the nations that whom you have removed and placed in its cities of Samaria do not know the rituals of the God of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and indeed they are killing them because they do not know the rituals of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, send there one of your priests whom you have brought from there. Let him go and dwell there. Let him teach them the rituals of the God of the land. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel and taught them how they should fear the Lord. However, every other nation continued to make gods of its own and put them in the shrines on the high places which the Samaritans had made. Every nation in the cities where there dwelt the men of Babylon made Succoth Banoth, the men of Cuth made Nergal, the men of Hamath made Ashima, the Ivites made Nebaz and Tartek, and the Sepharvites burned the children in the fire of Adremelech and Anamelech, the gods of the Sepharvaim. And they feared the Lord from every class they feared the Lord, and from every class they appointed for themselves the priests of the high places who sacrificed for them in the shrines of the high places. They feared the Lord, yet served their own gods, according to the rituals of the nations from among whom they were carried.
What verse that is?
That's the end of verse 33.
All right, so go to verse 35.
All right. With whom the Lord had made a covenant and charged them, saying, you shall not fear other gods, nor bow down to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them, but the Lord who brought you up of the land of Egypt with great power and an outstretched arm.
Wait, you in 2 Kings?
Yeah.
2 Kings 19?
Oh, the 2 Kings 17.
Oh, okay, my bad. I got 2 Kings 19:35 up right now, right?
Go for it.
And it came to pass on a certain night that the angel of the Lord went out and killed in the camp of the Assyrians 185,000. And when the people arose early in the morning, there were the corpses all dead. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, departed and went away, returned home, and remained at Nineveh. Now it came to pass, as he was worshipping in the temple of Nisroch, his god, that his son Adremelech and Sharezer struck him down with the sword, and they escaped into the land of Ararat. Then Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his place. So that was the end of Sennacherib, right? And even in Isaiah right now, we're reading in verse 25, for yet a very little while, and the indignation would cease, and as will my anger in their destruction. You see what I'm saying? So God ended up fulfilling this prophecy by putting an end to the Assyrian, But even in the text that you read, that was showing how the Assyrians did conquer, right? They did completely, basically wipe out Israel, right? And they drove out everyone else. And they put, new people, y'all can come. This is a free, empty city to live in, But even still, God made it so that, it ain't, these still my people at the end of the day. Y'all want to take things too far, and I still will avenge my people. So we brought lions in the land, and that's when they start to really try to take notice and take account of God. Excuse me.
They really got a lot of lions.
Yeah, boy.
Let's be thinking about Samson kill a lion, David kill a lion.
Yeah, there was lions during that time in that region, a lot of them. But yeah, the story basically end with even Sennacherib. He was trying to go back to war, and
is Sennacherib and take place of the same person?
I do not know. But yes, I would say yes, because I know because Sennacherib, this during Hezekiah time. So I know if he was succeeded by whatever I know. ChatGPT real quick. But yeah, so basically, no, so they different. They were different Assyrian kings who ruled at different times. Yep. So, yeah, Tiglath was several years. He reigned from 745 to 727. Sennacherib started at 705, according to ChatGPT. So y'all don't fight me if they wrong. They just be wrong sometimes. I just know they quick. You see what I said? So anyway, but this still the Assyrian Empire still waging war against Judah. And when they tried to invade Judah some years later, then God allowed all of them, like most of their soldiers, just to die, just miraculously. You see what I'm saying? So they had to retreat, and then when they retreat, his own sons, killed them, and that's God fulfilling the prophecy by saying that you will not completely be destroyed. That's what we learned, and I think that was Isaiah chapter 7. But also, just talking about in verse 25 and 20. Oh, wait, let me get to the right chapter. In 25, 24. Therefore, thus says the Lord of hosts, O my people who dwell in Zion, do not be afraid of the Assyrian. He shall strike you with a rod and will lift up his staff against you in the manner of Egypt. For yet a very little while, and the indignation will cease, as my anger in their destruction. And the Lord of hosts will stir up a scourge for him, like the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb, as his rod was on the sea, so will he lift it up in the manner of Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So, even in the manner of Egypt, when, all the firstborns, they just die, and, cattle was dying and all those things, God miraculously.
Passover.
Yep, God miraculously ended the lives of a lot of Assyrians to basically protect the people of Judah.
Israel.
The people of Israel. Well, there was warring against Judah at the time. There was warring against Judah, I think. Yeah, they was laying siege against Judah. Because remember, they had already defeat Israel and, you know what I mean, and the lions and XYZ. But this time when they was warring against, or was it?
I was saying, like, this was talking about, like, the remnant for Israel particularly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. But yeah. So now to the remnant part, though, that's interesting because...
Samaria is technically Israel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the northern kingdom.
So hold on. So Sennacherib died when he was trying to fight Samaria?
Now to go back to 19.
Oh.
Hezekiah wasn't there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hezekiah, he was raging against Hezekiah. So Judah. So we talking about two different things, but I basically talking about the end of Assyria, right?
Yeah.
But you was meaning the end of the Assyrians attacking Israel type situation, right? So like, yeah. But anyway, the Israelites, they so in regard to Isaiah 10, what we talking about right now, right? We talking about a remnant of God. And it's interesting because remember you was saying how how Isaiah brought his son that time, right?
Yeah. The one means a remnant will remain.
Yeah, a remnant will remain. He was talking to Ahaz at the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Who was the king of Judah at the time. And so now we have another message from God regarding a remnant, but this time for Israel. You know, this time God saying that, yo,
Shear Jashub was his son at the time.
Yeah, Shear Jashub. But yeah, basically God saying that, yo, bro, all these things happening, bro, but I still gonna keep a remnant of my people. You know, so you know, that's just a beautiful reminder, despite all of this.
All right. So now verse 27 of Isaiah 10. It shall come to pass in that day that his burden will be taken away from your shoulder, and his yoke from your neck, and the yoke will be destroyed because of the anointing oil. He has come to Iath. He has passed Migron. At Michmash, he has attended to his equipment. They have gone along the ridge. They have taken up lodging in Geba. Ramah is afraid. Geba of Saul has fled. Lift up your voice, O daughter of Galim. Because it caused it to be hard as far as Laish. O poor Anoth. Mad Minia has fled. The inhabitants of Gebim seek refuge. As yet he will remain at Nob that day. He will shake his fist at the mount of the daughter of Zion, the hill of Jerusalem. Behold, the Lord of hosts, will lop.
Bro.
She dead?
Yeah, bro. I didn't plug it in because it was running hot. But anyway, let's just...
we'll finish it. One picture. Yeah. Anyway, behold, the Lord of hosts, will lop off the bow with terror. Those of high stature will be hewn down, and the haughty will be humbled. He will cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon will fall by the mighty one.
Amen.
Woo! Here ends Isaiah 10.
And so this now, we pivoting again. Wait, that was the end of Isaiah 10?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I was trying to talk about, the fall of Assyria.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, okay, all right, so that's why we was a little confused. So at the end of this, now here's when God prophesies that, you know, the Assyrians are going to fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's, sorry, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. This is get a little bit confusing because there's so many different layers to it, so many different other nations that we talking about. But overall, so in this chapter, if I could was to summarize it, basically we talk about Israel, right? We talk about a remnant returning to Israel, right? That it should come to pass that, you know, that the remnant of Israel, that the remnant of Israel and such as have escaped of the house of Jacob will never again depend on him who defeated them, but will depend on the Lord, the Holy One of Israel in truth. The remnant will return, the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty God. You see what I'm saying? So basically saying that, bro, there are some people that have backslid, but are repentant. You know what I mean? And although they worship idols, you know what I'm saying? Although they was a part of all of this apostasy, this isn't the end for them, because truly they are repentant. There are some people, they get punished and they turn to God. Some people reach a near death experience. They turn to God, and it's a change of behavior. Some people, oh, thank you, Lord, and then they go right back to what they was doing. Sometimes they go deeper and deeper, you know. But God talking about the remnant of His, even those who have strayed away, bro, those who truly love God and will be returned to Him. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna come back to God, and no longer they're gonna rely on their idols. No longer they're gonna rely on other, what could I say, other gods of other nations and stuff like that. And you know, they're gonna return back to their land. So even when we see during Jesus' time, Samaritans were back in Samaria.
Yep.
Now they had been scattered, they had been went away, they intermarried, all type of stuff happened since this time that we talking about in Isaiah. But even the fact that Jesus went to preach to the Samaritans, that was even evidence that the remnant has remained with them. You see what I'm saying? That they actually came back to their land and they actually live, and they remain in that land in enough time for Jesus to actually come there and preach the gospel, you know. But outside of the remnant to come for Israel and Judah, this was mainly focusing on the Assyrian judgment, the arrogance, the fact that God used the Assyrians as a tool, but also their pride that they had, and the self-glorification that they have exemplified throughout their conquering. And because of that, and because of the wickedness that they have been doing, there's punishment that's coming for them as well, you know. And so that's why that even to end the chapter, you know, God talks about anyway, God just basically talk about all the punishment, you know, that's gonna come to them. Exactly. He shall cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and Lebanon will fall by the mighty one, you know. Like little stuff like that is how God is basically God saying that Assyria is gonna fall. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. The haughty will be humbled. Yeah, the haughty will be humbled. The mighty one will fall. The Lebanon, and the haughty will be humbled. He will cut down the thickets of the forest with iron, and the Lebanon will fall by the hand of the mighty one. And so, just as how you could be, go for it.
And this prophecy was actually fulfilled in Isaiah 37. So we do see in 2 Kings 19, which I read, how, you know, he gonna die. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna go to war against Jerusalem, and they're gonna you know, they're just gonna miraculously die or whatever. But even in the book of Isaiah, they actually account in the 37th chapter when this actually happens. And one thing not to be lost is that all of this being prophesied right now is to come to pass. You see what I'm saying? Like he prophesying stuff that have not even happened yet. He prophesying things that's gonna happen and the impact after that. You know what I'm saying? He prophesying that the Assyrians gonna be victorious, you're all gonna lose, we're gonna have a remnant. Like so many different levels of things that's to come. And so it is a bit confusing. You know, we obviously trying our best to, you know, explain it as we understand it. But overall, you know, I think it's still a powerful example of how superior God is and the complexities of God's justice. I have to keep my end of the bargain at all times. I have to administer justice, even if it's my beloved son, even if it's my beloved nations that actually the ones to be punished. I still have to be impartial and allow that to happen, because that is the judgment of sin, basically. And at the same time, because y'all have to get punished, someone else that is also still wicked is going to benefit for the most part, because basically no nation was good at this time. But even in doing that, that does not mean that I'm going to completely abandon the other wicked nations, because they too will be punished. This chapter starts with God denouncing Israel's corrupt leaders for creating unjust laws, oppressing the poor, and exploiting widows and orphans. A warning is issued disaster will come and no one will escape God's judgment. Then, God chastises Assyria for their pride and arrogance. They had destroyed many and had been victorious in battle, but credited their success to themselves and their gods instead of the Most High. Thus, their destruction was imminent as well. Finally, God reassures the Israelites not to fear destruction from the Assyrians, because a remnant of Israel will return. But we'll talk more about the prophecies of Isaiah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.